Hey there, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video, myself and Nick are going to be taking a look at two shoes, the Adidas Terrex Parley 2 trail shoe and the Adidas Trail Parley 2 Ultra trail shoe. Let's see what we both thought. We've put this video together with both shoes in the same review because there's actually very little difference in the build of the two shoes. The main difference between the two is that the Parley 2 running shoe uses a Lightstrike midsole, whereas the Parley 2 Ultra uses a Boost midsole. Both of the shoes have a knitted upper that's made of Adidas's Parley material, which uses recycled sea waste to create the material, and both have a continental rubber outsole, which Adidas has been using for a long time in loads of its running shoes, and it's a pretty nice piece of material when it comes to durability and grip. So let's go through the stats of the two shoes. The Adidas Terrex Parley 2 comes in at £130 or $140. It weighs in at around 300 grams and there's a 6-ish millimeter drop. The Adidas Terrex Parley 2 Ultra comes in at £159.95 or $180. It weighs slightly more, around 320 grams, and the drop is the same at around 6 millimeters. For the Parley 2 running shoe, the fit for me was completely fine. It fits true to size, and to be honest, normally with Adidas shoes I find that they're a little bit narrow, especially around this kind of front foot, but I had no issues with this at all, and it felt a little bit roomier than I'd get from a lot of Adidas's other shoes. The upper material, made of this kind of Parley knitted design, is quite... It's fairly rigid, but it's still quite comfortable as well. So it allows a bit of flexibility, but it feels nicely locked down and quite supportive when you're out on the run. So comfortable and supportive.
So fit-wise, I have no concerns about the Terrex Ultra Parley. It fits the same size as I wear in all my Adidas shoes, including the Ultra Boost and everything else I've tried from the brand. It's comfortable. It's reasonably wide in the forefoot, and I found it was a pretty solid lockdown fit with this kind of sock-like upper with a bit of lacing there as well. So yeah, pretty solid all round when it comes to fit.
For me on the run, the Parley 2 shoe, I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. It feels quite responsive. It doesn't feel that bouncy, which is presumably the difference you're getting with the Lightstrike material, that kind of lack of any sort of bounce, which I think Nick speaks about. So I've tested the Parley 2 out mainly between roads and canal paths, and I found it actually works quite well. It delivers very similar to a standard road shoe, just with a little bit of extra grip. And that grip isn't particularly good when it comes to really wet days when the canal paths are really muddy. It does get a bit slippy. But for more general days where you're kind of dipping between the two, it works fine. On roads, it just delivers like a road shoe, really. The grip and the lugs on the outsole are quite minimal, so you don't really notice any major difference in it. And sometimes with trail shoes, you can't really run on them comfortably on road because they're a little bit too hard and the lugs are a little bit too deep. But this is, it's really just a transitional road shoe for me, and I think I did around 50 miles in it, and on the road section, sometimes I'd be doing 10k on road. Felt completely fine. Actually felt quite nice when running on the roads. So yeah, it works quite well for light road and trail use. When it did get muddy and wet, I did find it slipping a bit, and the grip just wasn't that great. Those lugs are quite limited when it comes to hitting the mud. I did also find that the shoe's quite comfortable from the off. With a lot of trail shoes I try, the upper tends to be a little bit more rigid for waterproofing and that kind of thing. But this actually felt quite loose from day one, so they're quite comfortable to wear straight away, and I did enjoy them from that point of view.
So I've done kind of 40 miles in the Terrex True Ultra Parley, and I've kind of used it mostly for long runs. I kind of used it towards the start of the autumn, now through to kind of winter, and it's now probably no longer of use to me. In the forest I do all my kind of trail running in is now pretty muddy, and I haven't found this exceptional for gripping in the mud. I wouldn't want to take it in there now. I think it would be a bit too kind of treacherous. They're fairly shallow lugs. They're really designed for kind of better for harder ground, road to trail, that kind of thing, in my opinion, like canal towpaths. So on the runs I did a couple of 15 milers in it. I wasn't really wowed by it, I have to say. I do like the actual Ultra Boost for road running, for long running. I find it's comfortable, it's pretty responsive. I just don't really feel the need for this kind of level of kind of boost cushioning on the trail. Like generally it's a bit softer there, even kind of when the trails are still rock hard and I was running on the roads to them. I felt like maybe this was a bit too much in terms of cushioning, and it certainly adds a lot of weight to the shoe. Kind of the end of 15 milers, it's a little bit of a drag picking up your feet. For a shoe that I think is obviously designed to go long, very long, I do think it's probably slightly too heavy for me. Probably the run I enjoyed it the most on was just an hour easy in the forest, really, like sauntering around. It was pretty comfortable, fairly bouncy, fair bit of road mixed in on that one. I enjoyed that running it. But yeah, in terms of going long, and as soon as it's a bit muddy, it wouldn't be my first pick at all. Even though I do really like the the colourway, I have to say I do like the zebra flage cushioning and the bright orange top, which I've kind of wrecked, just kind of one slightly muddy run. But yeah, it's a nice shoe, it's a comfortable shoe. I wouldn't want to use anything kind of fast in it, and even over easy long runs, I found that the weight did start to kind of get me down very slightly.
My verdict is they deliver quite a nice experience when it comes to running on both roads and lighter trails. It's really a shoe designed for people that you're not going to be spending days and days out on the trails with different terrain. You're really just kind of dipping in and out between a bit of public footpaths, canal paths, that kind of thing, but you're also heading out from the house on the roads as well. And you just want something that's got a little bit of extra grip, and can handle a bit more of that off-road than a normal road running shoe, which would be quite slippy in a lot of cases. But it's not a hard, heavy level trail running shoe. So if you're expecting these to handle the mountains and really muddy, wet ground, they may struggle quite a bit because the lugs and the grip of it is just not quite good enough for some of the more severe terrain that you might get. But as a general road trail shoe, I think they work very well. They're very comfortable, they're very nice, they look great. I know Nick thinks they look good as well, and yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with them.
So comes to my verdict on the Terrex True Ultra Parley. It's a nice shoe. I think if you live in, kind of if your trail is more kind of rock and there's lots of road trail in there, it is a comfortable option. It's quite protective in the style of a road shoe with a little bit of grip. Kind of Continental rubber does grip well on wet roads and kind of gravelly stuff, but it's not brilliant for mud. In the UK where I am in particular, it's mud really that's the focus of my trail running, especially kind of this time of year in the winter when it's normally cross-country season when everything isn't cancelled. So it wouldn't be my go-to. I feel like a lot of time I'd be using it when I could use a road shoe, and those are kind of lighter, a little bit better, I think, for the kind of trails I'm on. I think it is very heavy. I do think long runs on similar terrain, I would much prefer using something like the Hoka Torrent, which also has a bit more grip when it is a bit wet for me. I find that shoe comfortable, lighter, like it's just nice to pick up your feet at the end of a kind of a 15 miler. You still kind of feel reasonably fresh. Whereas I do think this, after a while, this started to weigh on me a bit. It is responsive and comfortable, but if you're navigating terrain and stuff like that, I feel like I'd prefer a slightly more nimble shoe, and Hoka are good on that, even though they are obviously very big. I also think in terms of just speed on kind of harder ground, the Brooks Catamount I think is a much better shoe as well. Like it's got Brooks' DNA Flash midsole foam, which is used in kind of the new Hyperion Elite 2 and the Hyperion Tempo fast training shoe. It's a really good foam. You can use more versatile. I think a lot of time on the trail, I just don't know if I want this much cushioning and this much weight. I'd rather have a slightly less kind of supportive shoe because trails are kind of a little bit more supportive anyway, and I'd definitely rather have less weight on the go. So yeah, it's a nice shoe, it's a nice looking shoe, and I think it's quite comfortable for kind of 10-mile cruising around the kind of road trail and kind of light trails, but yeah, it wouldn't be my go-to option despite the fantastic design.
So that's it from us, from the Adidas Terrex 2 trail shoe and the Adidas 2 Trail Parley trail shoe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the channel for all of the latest on shoes, headphones, watches, and anything else to do with running. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.